Hello, hello. What's up? What's up, everybody? How we doing? Wait. Get some of that background noise out of there. What's up? Hello. How are you? Hello, hello, hello. Oh my gosh, look at everyone here. Eden, Ink Charm, Tai Tai, Jay, Sue. What's up? What's up? Hello, crocheting savvy? I know how to crochet. And by I know how to crochet, I mean I made a hat once in geometry class. Why was I crocheting in geometry class? Because our geometry teacher got bored of teaching geometry and really liked crocheting. And so she took like a week and a half just to teach us how to crochet. It was weird. In retrospect, it was kind of odd, I would say. But it happened. That was just a thing that I did. Hello, hello, hello. Weeping Dalek. Hi. Good. How about you? I am okay. I was just talking to Eden before this. We were catching up, and I was talking about how much it sucks to have a dog in heat. I get no sleep, and I assume... Actually, sorry, I don't assume. I do not think that having a dog in heat is like having a kid. I think that a kid, like a baby, is just all of the things that a dog in heat is, but like worse. And like more intense, you know? And it's like, oh my God, having a dog in heat is the worst, and I hate it, and I get no sleep. I can't even imagine having a child right now. So yeah, it's I'm surviving. Yeah, kids are intense, man. Kids are intense. But dog in heat's it's all right. It's I'm surviving. I'm excited to be here. I went live a skosh early because the takeaway is big. Takeaway is big today. I don't know how I might just like blow through it and there might be no discussion. Sometimes that happens. But I have a lot to say. At the very least. Ink Charm, thank you for the for upgrading your membership. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I also we'll get to that. I might have some housekeeping stuff after the break as well. But we will save that. I wish that was my geometry teacher. I know. She was cool. I did not learn much geometry. But she was cool. What's up? Hello. What up? Okay. And you know what? It's 11:30. Well, it's 11:29. That's basically 11:30. Let's get it going. Wait. Are we going to get it going? I need to move things onto different screens, and then we'll get it going. There we go. And boop. Wow, there's nothing here. It looked so different when I was looking at it off screen. Why did it look so different? Okay, there I am. Hello. Let's see. Let's put that back in. There we go. Much better. Okay. Let's talk. Takeaway. I'm not going to do comment review right now. I'm not going to do it, and you will see why. Because comment review... Oh, there's that. Oh, wait. Why are we in the same box? Let me out. Put me on top. Yeah, you will see why in a moment. But yeah, the homecoming, or not homecoming, housekeeping will involve the comment review. But okay, there we go. Little bit better. Oh no, it's still, man, I am struggling this morning on layouts. It all looked way different. Okay. Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed? I'm going to talk about the dungeon. Because the dungeon was fucking sick. Not even the dungeon. I called it a dungeon here. Battle arena. But I was stream of consciousness right in this baby. Basically, my takeaway from last episode was, oh boy, do I complicate things sometimes. Do I overly complicate? A lot of times when I talk about dungeons or battle arenas, I'm talking about the environments and the special actions that people could take. And at the beginning of the Killbox episode, I was like, oh, how are the spikes going to play into it? What other things can we do? How can we, create different environmental effects? Oh, maybe like we have this like fire thing. I'm overcomplicating it. That's my big takeaway, is I'm making it too complicated. And this is a good example of like base level map design that I sometimes skip to my detriment. Like sometimes I kind of say it here, it's like sometimes I go from like level 0 to level 9. Like I make it too complicated. I'm thinking about too much out here stuff. And I skip and don't do like levels 1 and 2 of good map design. And so I wanted to talk about it because I think that my mic arm accidentally muted my mic. I think this is a really good example of, again, like base level, really good map design. And I said right here, the combat arena answers a really simple question. Do you have any reason at any point to move? I think this is like a basic question that should be asked when designing any sort of battle arena. Is there a reason ever for your actor to move? And when I say actor, I refer to things as actors within this. Actors are NPCs, adversaries, monsters, the party. All of these are actors within the scene. Do your actors have reasons to move? And I think that this basic question doesn't get answered sometimes and is one of the core reasons that I think monks feel so weird and why monks are so divisive within D&D 5e is because their whole shtick is moving and being good at moving. And that sort of thing, designing a combat where movement matters and like you have a reason to move, that is not handled by the rules. That is something that you as a DM have to do. You have to provide a reason for movement. And I think that this last combat, the Killbox, was a really good example of how to do that in a very not complicated way at all. In like a very straightforward, very simple way, and how just answering that question can make such a satisfying combat. Because like you can have all the fancy effects, all the fancy options you want in a combat, but if there's no reason for anyone in the party to move, you might as well be in a white room with some new action options on your sheet. Like, no matter how many cool environmental effects there are going around, lighting up the combat, if there's no reason for anyone to move, you might as well all be stood in a circle hitting each other. You just have fancier ways to hit each other. Movement and reasons for it is absolutely basic necessity for making really solid combats. Of course, there are always exceptions. I put that in. And I won't go too in depth, but I think to highlight the need for movement, we can talk about two things: separation and obstacles. And they're kind of the same thing. Like if we really want to abstract it, they're sort of the same thing. separation and obstacles. Like, an obstacle is something like a wall. It's something like a wall. But also, you can consider separation just an obstacle of distance. In World War One, didn't think I'd be bringing out a World War One reference, did ya? In World War One, having to cross no man's land, that is an obstacle that is purely based on the separation between the two forces and the relative lack of cover in no man's land. Right? That separation, that non-existence is an obstacle in and of itself. So you can really just think about this as obstacles, but I think it's maybe a little bit easier to think about it as separation and obstacles. Actors in this combat have non-insignificant obstacles between them that affect standard actions. Vax can't throw a dagger at an archer hiding in a roof valley. You know, like the little like crook of a roof. Like if an archer ducks in there, Vax can't fucking hit him with a dagger. That's an obstacle. And they also can't access said roof valley without an acrobatics check. There is no way for Vax to affect that archer unless he moves. It's super, again, very base level, but a lot of combat arenas don't have this. Just don't have it. Just straight up. And again, I get too in my head sometimes about it, where I'm thinking about like, oh, you want to have like traps and environmental effects. And, you know, I talked about like adding like a canyon to the orc tribe fight behind them so that there's maybe like something that they can be pushed back against. But I do think that ultimately those are later things. Adding environmental traps, adding, you know, fucking pits to push people into, spikes to push people onto, all of that I think is secondary to giving a reason for moving. Like this is an even more basic idea of separation between actors in the combat that favors one combatant over the other. It's what I might call like level 1. So like level 0 is like White Room. Level 1 is there is some manner of separation between the actors that favors one actor over the other. It's the classic Anakin, I have the high ground. I have the high ground. We are separated by this high ground, and it gives me an advantage. That basic like inequality within where you are stationed within the battle map is one of the most basic things to drive movement and to drive interest within the scene. It's not the only way to encourage movement, but it's probably the most straightforward. Matt's map introduces basic obstacles like asymmetric building roofs and verticality that favor certain actors more than others. This gives some actors reasons to move in certain ways and others to not. Like, Grog doesn't move much throughout this combat because the type of movement encouraged here doesn't really suit him. And that's fine. That's super fine. Like, it suits people that can fly, i.e. Keyleth Vax, or hover, or do acrobatics like Vax. You know, Vax, like, you know, really easily scales the roof. It is very easy for him to overcome obstacles that it is not easy for other people to overcome. Again, this asymmetric design that favors some people over others. You want it to be endemic within the positioning, and you want it to be worked into the way that obstacles are cleared. Obstacles shouldn't be equally able to be cleared. Otherwise, everyone will do everything. And it's more interesting when certain people do certain things that they're good at. And then they have a feeling of accomplishment. Like, oh, I did that because I'm good at it. And, you know, because I was good at it and because I was able to do it, our side got an advantage. That's really cool. And to bring back the no man's land, if the movement required charging across a no man's land and taking a bunch of hits, like across that border, Grog would be perfectly suited for that. Grog has a little bit faster movement. He has like extra movement speed, and he's very able to take hits. Same thing that Monk would be really good at. But that's like a bit in the weeds. Overall, this has reminded me to think through my combats from the perspective of, is there any reason for the actors to move? It's a fundamental question that I too often skip over. There's way too often where I skip over that, again, very basic question. And I think if I skipped over it less often, my combats would be better. Just overall. Because the kill box, again, super basic. Basically, raised platform with some low cover walls. And then other raised platform with some low cover walls. If we really want to, get back to basics on what was going on there, it was just some raised platforms with some cover. That's it. But it was so good. So good. It was really, really good. Moving is overrated. Equality for small creatures down with monk propaganda. Yeah. Monk would have been sick in kill box with all the buildings. Exactly. Monk would have been so good at going and taking care of the ranged combatants while the other people rained fire down on the kill box. Like, that combat was interesting partially because they wanted to be able to affect the ground, but it was difficult for them to do while the archers held the high ground. And so some people were trying to deal with the archers while other people went and actually affected the kill box down below. Because if they were able to take the high ground, like if they had just focused on that rather than focusing down Kevdak, they would have basically been impervious to the melee combatants on the ground. Like, it would have been really, really easy for them to just rain down hell with basically impunity. But they would have had to go through work to do that, and some people would have been more or less suited to that work. Like, we even saw Percy, someone who classically doesn't really move all that much during combat because he has a big-ass gun. Even, like, take the time to take some cover and, to, like, think about his positioning on the roof. And that, again, really basic. Like, was not like complicated movement, but it made his turns more interesting because he was thinking about the wider scene, and trying to move to get an advantage. So I thought it was really cool. Monk is like Cheetah, really good at moving fast, not as good at other things. Yeah, exactly. And if there's no reason to move, then there's kind of no reason for Monk, unfortunately. Except for Stunning Strike. The shape of your map can change a lot. Yeah. The shape of your map is less important than there being reasons to be in different areas of that map. I think one way to accomplish that is by giving certain areas different effects. But another way is just to make getting between those areas more difficult for certain people, for certain actors within the scene, so that you can essentially create safe zones, right? That was kind of what Vox Machina was going after, was trying to create the safe zones of the roofs so that they could then rain down fire on the kill box. And that is very interesting, So that, yeah, it's really good. I think it'd be great if you made a video explaining your node system in detail. I have. That's the wild and wacky part, is I just haven't put it into I did a stream a long time ago, but I do so many fucking streams that I think it's gotten lost. But no, me and Eden are actually working on a cut down of that stream that I can more easily reference. Because I agree that it'd be a good idea. And I need to just be better at that in general. Is like, I've done some like bespoke streams, but I haven't done a good job of disseminating that information, even though it theoretically exists. Because it will probably be lost in an 8-hour stream, number 53. Yeah. Yeah. Would you be interested in watching animated? Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes. The more complicated answer is if I can make it interesting. Because I won't be able to watch it in the same way that I watch this, because it will absolutely get copyright claimed. So the answer to is there interest is hard yes. The answer to when and how and the execution is a little bit more complicated, unfortunately. What up, Mr. Multi? Underrated advice from DMG on granting advantage, disadvantage based on the environment. Like you're saying, these principles of map inequality are core to arena shooter map design, for example. Yeah. Having like sniper spots and then having flank routes to go and access the sniper spot. Like that is absolutely core to like Call of Duty map design, of having like one really powerful spot that is kind of difficult to get to. On, one side of the map arena. And you can only really get to it if you're, like, really fast and speedy and can, like, cross through different areas to go up and flank that sniper. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Positioning inequality is maybe a really good way to phrase it. It should feel different if you are in different parts of the map. And if it doesn't, then there's no reason to go between different parts of the map. But I mean, even more fundamentally, just having like, you don't even, and that's the thing that I found really kind of interesting about Matt's kill box, is it kind of shows that like, I completely agree with you, John Elliott, is that like high ground should give you an advantage. But there's even a separation. There's one step down from that where you don't even have to give advantage. Like ranged combatants being safe, squishy casters just being safe, even if they have no distinct advantage, like even if, you're not giving them advantage, you're not giving them like pluses or minuses to hit, even if they have no like mechanical gain from like being up high and being safe, the fact that they are safe and they are harder to, to like surround and stab and take out, that in and of itself can be a reason to move. Like Keyleth went up and Vax went up and took out the archers because they were too safe and they were shooting at Scanlan. So they needed to cross the obstacles to get to this location, and they had that impetus to go and access those archers just because they were threatening Scanlan, and they couldn't be easily accessed by someone like Grog or someone like Percy because they were hiding from Percy's line of sight. So there's, I would call this like level 2 or 3 thinking even. But, like, just the concept of separating them and doing nothing else is even, like, a really base level of map design that makes it so much better and so much more effective. And I think that was, like, that was the big impact that the kill box had on me, is it's like, oh, man, I don't even have to think about it that much. I really just need to separate them. That's it. And then I need to do all the other things that would make it even better. But yeah, it was so good with such a base level of effort. Do you think it applies differently for range versus close range combat map balance? With close range, you've got actors occupying the same space, so I don't know. I think that when we talk about the music is distracting me. I need to turn it down. I'm actually just going to turn it off. The music was distracting me. I think that the type of thing matters, right? So if you have a close range fight, there needs to be a reason throughout the entire combat for those combatants to move. I think that ranged is easier because you can kind of do what Matt did with Killbox, where the only thing that you need to do to, I think, make ranged combatants, like the positioning matter, is just give them essentially like areas that you could almost call like a bunker, or a sniper's nest, a safe spot where they cannot be accessed by melee combatants. And then alternatively, for melee combatants, you need to give them, you either just, not every combat has to favor every person. But I think if you want to favor their close range combatants, like Grog or something, there has to be a reason that they can cross the map or they can move through an obstacle that the ranged combatants can't, or it is more difficult for them to do. And I think one of the really easy ways to kind of make that happen is longer distances. So put things that are outside. So like you can create those safe areas, right, for your ranged combatants, and then put some sort of objective. Maybe someone with imagine someone has something like the bad news, right? Crazy range on the other side of the map. And they are staying far, far, far away. They're staying far away from your fucking casters with 60-foot cantrips. They're staying far away from your Eldritch Spear warlock that is only rocking like 200 feet. They're staying at 300-400 feet. And I think that gives an excuse for melee combatants, your closer range combatants, to need to cross that distance in a way that the ranged combatants can't. Alternatively, you can put an objective across some sort of distance, again, that the ranged combatants would have to put themselves out of safety to acquire. And I think that is a way, because like generally your ranged or your melee combatants are going to be tougher. Just like straight up, it's going to be easier for them to take hits than your ranged combatants. So if you play on the aspect of safety of, okay, the ranged combatants are up there and they're safe and they can have an effect on the majority of the combat, but they can't have an effect on this sliver of the combat. And if that sliver is really, really important, then your melee combatants will have reason to move around. So maybe another example. Let me move over to another thing. Maybe another example is, oh no, not untitled. Gross. Get out of here. Oh no, why? I thought I set the default. Whatever. Another example. Say, actually, there's a very good example that we can use the Killbox arena for. So, if I just make this a little bit bigger. So let's imagine that this is the Killbox arena. The Killbox arena was essentially set up like this, where there was a raised platform here, and raised platform here. This was essentially the setup of the Killbox, and then there was a little bit of a ring there. Now, most of Vox Machina set up in this combat on this platform. They made this platform pretty damn safe for themselves, generally. And that was where their ranged combatants were able to shoot down into the Killbox and kill Kevdak and help out Grog. Now, alternatively, let's imagine that this isn't a raised platform. This is more of an explicit barrier. Maybe it's like, I don't know, a fucking high rise. It's a wall of fire. I don't know what it is. It's a big ass wall. Maybe it's a city wall. or like an inner courtyard wall. So this is much more of a distinct obstacle that blocks line of sight. And then let's say there's a spooky, scary ritual going on over here. Uh-oh, super scary ritual. And this ritual, maybe it's sort of a countdown sort of situation where this ritual is, progressing throughout the course of the combat. And the party is trying to stop it. There are some guards maybe holding here. So these guys can, affect the guards. They can affect any other scouts that are coming out and trying to get at them. They have a really safe position, but they can't affect this ritual. This is going to need a melee person to go around and get at the caster. Right, so that's an example of you set up the safe zone like Matt did for your ranged combatants, and then you put something important, some objective within the combat in a place that the safe zone can't affect. And so now your ranged combatants either have to choose to put themselves out a little bit, and in that case, your melee combatants now have the new job of protecting your ranged combatant. So say your ranged combatant is like, okay, I'm going to leave the safe zone. Well, now, oh no, your ranged combatant is no longer safe. As a melee combatant, you have to now stand in front of them and you're moving with them. You're fucking like, you're making a pocket, right? This does look kind of like a football play chart. You're making a pocket for your ranged combatant or for your caster. And as a melee combatant, you move along with them so that they can get here. Or if you're a more mobile type of melee combatant, maybe a monk, maybe a rogue, you just break through this line and go and attack the caster over there. And maybe another melee combatant tries to lock this down. So like Grog the Barbarian, say Grog has something like Sentinel that stops people from moving. Sentinel goes up here. Rogue goes around to affect the caster back there. Now everyone's having a job. The Sentinel guy is just taking hits and locking it down while the ranged combatants fire down. So there's so much you can do. There's so much you can do. It's yeah. I don't know. This it definitely the really big, again, going back to it, the really big takeaway I had from this was, man, I really do make this too complicated sometimes, huh? Like sometimes it is as simple as like putting some raised platforms and a wall. And that's it. And that's all you gotta fucking do. And I'm out here making it way too complicated. Way too complicated sometimes. Oh man, I need to stop having the music be automatic is what I'm realizing right now. You could watch it just like this, but that would be a massive mistake. Yeah. My advice is also still you should finish C1 before tackling it. I agree. I agree. I want to finish C1 before doing Legend. I'm not sure how much informative stuff can be wrung from Lovum in the same way as Critical Eyes in the first place. I'm not sure either. I think it would be interesting to... I think it would be... I think the most interesting part of watching Legend would be looking at how they refined the story and what they cut, what they didn't focus on, and was that just, oh, they cut it for TV, like it didn't make sense for TV? Or was it maybe did it maybe never make sense, Maybe it should have never been included. I think that would be the most interesting part, is looking at it and just seeing, did they cut it for TV or did they cut it because it makes it better? I think that would be interesting. Oh no, we're in an ad. Fuck. I mean, we're not actually in an ad, but ad starts in 9 seconds. Fuck. Okay. So we'll go into an ad, and then when we come back, we have some housekeeping, and then we'll start. I will see you guys in a second. See you in a second. Hello, hello, hello. What's up? We're back. Hi. Yeah. Oh man, I'm glad that was I saw John said very, very helpful. I'm glad. something that I'm kind of thinking about in terms of this is kind of not necessarily like I don't know how to phrase it. Not like coming up with my own rules, but like trying to think about what I consider like the different levels of complication in a combat. Like the different levels of like helpful complication. Because I don't know if you all have caught on, but I like thinking about heuristics and like rules and, you know, things that I can follow to at least make like the skeleton of a thing. Because I feel like once you know the rules of anything really well, you then know how and where you can break them. So like I'm thinking about like, oh, that is way too thick. No, thank you. No, thank you. Please, no. So it's like, yeah. Level 1. Or no, not even level 1. Level like 0 is like white room combat. It's like white room. L1 is like obstacles between actors, I think. Obstacles. L2 is positioning advantages. I would say L3 is like objectives. So I've talked about like objectives in a combat other than kill them. like put them all down to 0. And the objective doesn't have to be like, oh, if you get the objective, you win. It's just that there are certain objectives other than lowering health that affect the combat in some way. And I consider that kind of like L3. And then I don't know what I'm kind of thinking about like what the different levels are. Maybe L4 is like, I'm thinking about if that should be like environmental effects. I don't know yet. I think that's it's like environ. I might chip away at this theory a little bit more in my free time, or maybe in like Tuesdays. Environment effects. Like finding the Sphinx's name. Yes, yeah, finding the Sphinx's name is a great example of like an L3 objective. It's something that you do in the combat that is not hitting the Sphinx. Yeah. Great example of an L3. Yeah, I don't know. I might chip away at this theory a little bit more and maybe see if there's something a little bit broader or more concise there. But this definitely got me thinking about that. But with that, let's do comment review / housekeeping. Because you might notice that the chat looks different than it did in 52. It's back. Chat is back, baby. And that is because, well, it's not because, but the comment that I selected for comment review was talking about the chat and the new layouts and all that. Very well written, well thought through. Has some like more like high-minded like general stuff, and then some more like nitty-gritty details. But overall, one thing that stood out to me was no point in having on-screen chat if it can't be read after all. And this is something that I kind of have to remind myself occasionally. It's one of the only comments on last episode. Feel free to go back and read it if you're curious. But it is something that I was thinking about is like the reason that I was switching chats and like chat styles and everything was because Truffle I thought looked really good. I thought it was really clear. But it was missing things occasionally. So it was very occasionally missing chats. Like, it just wasn't getting them. I don't know why. And that was really bothering me. I was like, no, I want it to capture all of the chats. And so I moved over to that other one that I knew 100% was capturing all of the chats. But there is something to be said for, okay, maybe you get like, a 1 to 10%, improvement in functionality. But if it's unreadable and it's harder to work with, and, because even like the process of changing the font, of changing the font size, of changing the styling, it was all so much harder, approaching impossible on some things. Like, part of the comment was about the actual like color of red, and I can't change that. Like, I have no control. I have no effect over that in the way that I have a little bit more control over the styling on this one. So it's overall, I didn't have very many complaints about this one. I was really, annoyed about the missing chats, but really, they weren't actually missing. They were just not on screen. Like, they still very much existed. I still got them in the back end. Oh, you can't really see it. I still got them in the back end. They just weren't on screen. So that's, overall, I was just like, I just need to kind of get over it. It's worth having something that's easier to work with and looks a little bit better, than to have 100% functionality. So yeah, what's up, Protector of the Multiverse? How you doing? I personally had never had trouble reading the other chat, but I watch YouTube on an iPad, so I'm sure it's easier for me to read than people using phones or watching on TV. Yeah, and yeah. And there were just, I even beyond readability, there were just like the fact that everyone got mushed into red on YouTube. I just thought looked worse overall. I didn't like the way it looked. So it's, I don't know, it's tough. I love how you discuss these things, BTW. Well, thank you, Sue. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of the classic creator advice of like, make what you like and talk about what you like. I like it when creators talk about like behind the scenes stuff and motivations and like why they're doing things. And so then I do it. I'm just modeling the stuff I like to see. So I'm glad that you like it. I'm glad. Not with that attitude. You can do anything you put your mind to, Mega. That's SSH. That's programmer brain rot. We cannot do anything we put our mind to. That's false. Because I have it too. That is one of the biggest brain worms that I have, is the idea that I can solve any problem. Because I do believe that. I know it's not true, but I have a core belief down in my fucking stomach that like I can look at any problem and solve it. And it's just not true. It is true, but a lot of the times the effort is not worth it. We have a limited amount of time in this life. It's not true. I can do almost nothing I put my mind to from my experience. We said the same thing about putting a man on the moon. We did. That was probably worth it. I should not put man on the moon effort into making the on-screen chat a tiny bit more functional. That's my problem. Is I see any problem of any magnitude, and I think I should solve that. It's actually kind of similar to a comment critique I've gotten, especially people that are watching through the backlog are like, oh man, Mega takes fucking 5 minutes to talk about how something that Matt did that maybe wasted a second, maybe less than, is such a big problem. And I have been trying lately to think more about the magnitudes of things that I talk about, because I definitely get into the habit of trying to approach everything, no matter the magnitude. And that's my brain rot. For some reason, I doubt that you can fix our lack of teleportation. I can do it, Dr. Ovi. I can do it. This attitude is how you get another set of billionaires going to the Titanic in a homemade tin can. I can get there, Ink Charm. They fucked it up. That's their fault. I'm better. I'm built differently, dude. I can get there. Can you fix my broken heart? Always. But is it worth the effort? Oh no, it's sad. Be the change we need. Man on the moon effort. I'm so stealing that. Monumental effort for just the optics. Monumental effort for pure optics is man on the moon effort. Just don't use off-brand controller with known connectivity issues. You'll be fine. Yeah. Anyone can get to the Titanic. That's so true. But anyways. Oh, okay. Other bit of housekeeping. Potential change to memberships coming down the pipeline. I've been debating on memberships for a long time because I don't like what they are right now. I don't like what they currently are. Of having the $0.99 and the $3.99. And so I've been debating basically just getting rid of the $3.99, making the Discord or making the Minecraft server just like a Discord thing, just like anyone in the Discord can get access, sort of thing. I know, Ink Charm. I thought about that. You did it, and I was like, oh no, I gotta talk about it. I know. So I'm considering, just. What have I ever done to deserve this except bully you? No, I know. It's why I've been so slow and hesitant to change anything is I want to minimize this sort of thing of going too fast and too wiggly and people, buy it and then I take it away and it's a whole fucking thing. So I've been debating either making it like $0.99, which is what Emojis for Everyone currently is, and then upping $3.99 to $5.99. And I have some ideas for things I could offer to make the $5.99 worth it, or I just nix the $3.99 altogether, make there be one membership tier. It's $0.99. And it is mostly there to just like generally support me and occasionally gets fun stuff. Like memberships only streams and things like that. I am leaning towards that one. I am leaning towards just nixing $3.99, making kind of the main thing being like the membership badges, the priority replying comments, that sort of thing, and then making there just be occasional members only stuff. What's the price of feet pics? If I thought there was a market for my dogs, I'd get them out. I got no problems. The thing is, I don't think there's a market. This is like when people This is like when people were like, set up a PayPal. How do I directly donate to you? Or when people were like, I really want to help you with the time codes, Mega. And I made a way for people to help with the time codes, and then they didn't. And I was like, I get it. But look, don't ask for feet pics if you don't want them. Because if people are down, I'm down. $20 is $20, exactly. It's a fucking, I don't get it. But especially because I don't get it, just a hunk of flesh to me, just a wrapping of flesh and bone. I'm willing to give out flesh and bone for free. Not for free, not for free. Very specifically. Yeah, but $20 is $20. Well, what's the price? I don't know, man. I'd have to do market analysis. I'd have to do some market analysis. I'd have to understand the demand for feet pics. Mega is starting an OnlyFans, apparently. I don't got a problem with starting an OnlyFans. Again, if I thought there was demand, I don't know, brother. Maybe. But that's a lot of work, dude. That's a lot of work. I know people with OnlyFans. That's too much work and responsibility for me. That's a lot. I'm kind of a low responsibility person by nature, which is why I'm leaning towards, making it just $0.99 rather than $0.99 and $5.99, but like having things I need to deliver at the $5.99 tier to like make it worth it. That's why I'm leaning away from the responsibility. OnlyFans is a lot of work. For free, he said it. Never. You'll never hold me to that. That'll never hold up in court, Sputnik. It was clearly, what's the word? Coerced? An accident? I don't know the legal term for accident. I don't know anything about the law. I know a lot of things about a lot of things. I know nothing about legal stuff. Like, I feel like I can talk pretty intelligently about a lot of different shit. The law is not one of them. I can talk very unintelligently and very stupid about it. Collab with Legal Eagle. I like Legal Eagle. Cool guy. Seems interesting. I stopped watching it because I was like, I'm interested in a lot of stuff. I don't know a lot about the law. And I also don't care a lot about the law. Is what I figured out. All I want is to stay out of trouble. I want to be a nice little boy. But I also don't like doing as I'm told. So that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I have a problem with authority, but also don't want to deal with the repercussions of having a problem with authority. And it's a hard life to live. In that I have my introverted tendencies that just make me like not want to have to deal with anyone or talk to anyone ever. While at the same time not wanting to do things that would allow me to fly under the radar. I don't know, brother. I don't care about the law. Brennan Lee Mulligan would be rad. I don't care about the law, man. I don't care about the law. I just don't want to have to deal with the law. I think that's fair. I'm willing. That's the thing. I've heard this said about piracy, like game piracy. I think I saw a what do you call it? A pirate software clip that was talking about how like people only pirate games when they can't get them legally. Like generally people break the law when they can't do the thing reasonably and legally. It's like pirating TV shows. If it's like too expensive or too restrictive to get it without pirating it, that's when people will start to pirate it. It's like that's how I feel about the law. It's like I just keep my head down, man. That's all I care about. I just care about not having to deal with it. The walking paradox, every total warlock attitude. Yeah, yes, sir. A warlock main doesn't care about the law. What a surprise. Wait a second. Wait, stop. No. Stop reading too much into my class choice. Anyways, that's housekeeping. That's the housekeeping. It is basically, I will probably be updating the membership soon, probably in the direction of making it $0.99 only. And the other housekeeping is Truffle is back. And I might still, and I also want to be clear, just because Truffle is back right now does not necessarily mean that I am giving up on the other one. It's more along the lines of I might be working on it during some membership, members only type streams. Like streams that are less interactive, less important about like what the chat is saying, that sort of thing. So I am not ditching the streamer.bot chat. It's just I don't think it's ready for prime time. Might never be ready for prime time. That might just be the thing. But it is at least not. I might still keep working on it. Let's see. I did the math, and in order to get as much streaming coverage as I can, I would have to put down more than $50 a month, and I still couldn't get everything because things are straight up not available in Germany. Yeah, exactly. Like that's the so bottle of rum for me. Yeah, it's that is so many people are willing to pay for convenience that if you just make your thing convenient, and like, you know, price is part of convenience. If you make your thing convenient to get, then people will. Like people like pirating is risky. Pirating, you like might get a virus, you might like, you know, you're not gonna get as high of quality. Like people don't just naturally want to pirate. It is out of like need and convenience. You know. But packs mean nothing, apparently. Yo-ho. If something is cheap but hard to get, it will be pirated. And if it's expensive but easy to get, it will be pirated. Yeah. It has to be it has to be as cheap as it can be and easy to get. Yeah. Consider option 3. It's affordable and reasonable, easy to get, but the company, makers, etc. are garbage. Oh, I mean, that's also fair. But I think even then, this is maybe, I think I've, over the course of this series, revealed myself to be a bit of a pessimist. I think a lot of people don't care at the end of the day. I think if it's cheap and easy, I think there certainly are people that care and will, you know, like buy and you know, participate in things based on their morals. But I also think that a lot of people just won't care. And they'll just do it, and they won't pirate it. I think there certainly are people out there that will, you know, act on those sorts of things. But I think they're unfortunately rare. You no what no me a pessimist no. I was having a conversation with my parents the other day where I was talking about how pessimistic I am. And they were like, what happened in your life to make you that way, Mega? Because my parents called me by my tag. And I listed out some things, and they were like, oh, I guess. My parents are funny. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, precisely. And it's like, I just think a lot of people don't care. You can't be a pessimist. You smile too much. Smiling is my face's natural state. I was literally just talking to Eden about this, where Eden said something that made me thoughtful. I was like thinking about what he said, and Eden kind of was like, hey, you know, I'm you know, sorry if I like stepped out of line at all, or if I was too, you know, like rude or whatever. And I was like, no. I was just thinking about it. And I realized I had a very similar conversation this morning with Paige. I'm a generally pretty quiet person, which is probably hilarious to hear. I generally don't talk a lot. But when I do talk, I suck up all the air in the room somehow. Somehow. And so when I don't talk, it makes people uncomfortable. And I don't know how to reconcile that. Sometimes I feel like Kaladin, the grumpy bridge boy, where people are like, are you mad? And I'm like, no, I'm not mad. I'm just like thinking, or I'm just tired. And they're like, okay, you're not going on like 20-minute long rants. Are you sure you're okay? I'm like, yeah, sometimes I'm just quiet, man. You aren't a quiet person. You're just absorbing sound energy. Yeah, precisely. Yeah, the sound of others feeds me, and then I regurgitate it at a later date. But anyways, that's enough yapping. We got Critical Role to watch. Also, okay, wait. One more thing before we really get into it. Some of this is from pre-episode 52, but I didn't want to talk about it during episode 52 because I knew it was like big episode. Didn't want to take too much time with behind the scenes stuff. But I'm getting really close to it being actually like useful with the, oh my god, it's so fucking big, with the character budget stuff, with like characters spoken, implementing a decrement, having a certain budget. I'm getting really close to being able to understand what the numbers mean, and being able to like actually make them useful. And this, I think, ultimately will probably replace the timer eventually. This will probably replace live split as just like a general mechanic for like understanding how much I talk and all that. So it's getting very, very close, which is very cool. I'm very excited about that fact. So not the timer. He's like family. The timer would be like family. You know what? Actually, you're right. He is like family. Fucking lazy and won't get off the couch. And I have to do everything. I have to tell him when to start. I have to tell him when to stop. I have to say, go do your fucking dishes. You're living here rent-free. Fucking take some initiative. That's me and the timer. You're right. The timer is family. And I am very much getting close to someone who does all of their own shit for themselves and is actually a useful member of this tribe. And I'm very excited about that. Keep the timer on screen even if you don't use it. Just have it there. Just at 0 the entire time for nothing. You paid $3.99 for the timer? I will make it to where the timer is only available for members somehow. I'll just leave it there and I'll somehow figure out how to stream a totally separate thing for you. What was that reference about a bridge person? It's a Stormlight reference. By the way, anyone who was into book club just got to Edge Dancer, almost to book 3, Oathbringer. It's really fucking good. It's really good. I really like it. I miss book club, but that is not saying book club is coming back. Book club is definitely not coming back. But I do miss it, and I miss talking about it. Because the book is very, very good. Non-members have to use a Post-it note. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I agree. All right. With that, I think that's all. I think that's all in terms of housekeeping. Oh, tune in to tomorrow, Tuesday. Gonna do the first mega office hours sort of vibe. It is going to be members only, but I'm going to test it out being like all members, so like $0.99 and $3.99. Actually, I should keep giving it to just the $3.99s for now. They paid for it. That was only an hour. We can do better. All right, everybody. We're gonna do office hours tomorrow. It's gonna be fun. And we're probably going to make some magic items, I think. I've been having some ideas for some magic items for a while. And I think we're going to go through and make them. And just hang out and chat. Yeah. It's going to be fun, I think. I think it's going to be kind of like, I don't want to say boring, but it's going to be like admin type work. Like, the actual like, not fun part of like making homebrew and of like making maps. Like it's gonna be like the more chore aspect. I guess kind of like a behind the scenes sort of thing of like, oh, like, this is just like sometimes you just have to like do kind of boring stuff to put it into a final package. You can't just run on ideas and hope. So yeah, we're gonna do that, hang out, and it'll be cool. And Finally, actually, for real, the CR episode.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I want to say, though it's only been a couple days past, a happy birthday to Marisha.
Yay!
Birthday this past Tuesday.
That
March
was
10th.
added after I sent out the announcements.
I was added right now because of your boyfriend. But yeah, happy birthday.
Oh, thanks, babe.
We love our druid.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Speaking of birthdays, I believe there's a gift to be given.
Yeah, I don't have an announcement, but I have a bit of a surprise. This is a little bit early because my sister and I share a birthday on the 28th. However,
May birthdays.
it's a big month for birthdays. I'm a little worried about the next episode or two if we're going
Wait, what?
to survive or not. So the gift
I can't.
that I have, I just want to
The subtitles are not being cooperative. I don't know why.
make sure you have it now, just in case. It's very timely. Ryan, if you please.
What is this thing? Is it a baby bear cub? Is it a real bear cub?
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
That is fantastic.
Oh my gosh. Show your face.
Look at what it says.
Happy birthday, Twinny. Fly high.
So much barf.
All the barf.
That's so cute.
Oh my god, I just want to ride it around right now.
It's got a little bend in it for your butt.
When they fly, that's the thing.
That's a busted ass
I
Nimbus
don't
2000
know.
right there.
Maybe
go to
have
the
some
roof, we'll
padding
find out.
or mattresses out the first time you use it.
This is so cool.
I also let it look nice in the house.
I think Will Wheaton has a
so
bunch of
good in the
chickens
house. It's
tabletop.
so perfect.
So,
It's gonna go on the
chickens.
mantle.
Hold it up a little higher so the people can see.
Oh, that was Ariel. Little Mermaid.
Keep singing! I'm a big fan of all your decisions. Keep making them.
Thanks.
Oh.
Yay. Thank you so much. I
That's
don't have your gift for you here.
Whatevs.
She dropped
Well,
it in
fantastic.
Oh my god.
Dropped it in a porta potty.
Make him hold it.
Okay. Make sure and get hold of it. Perfect.
You're right.
This is going to go perfectly.
Oh,
That does actually work.
Yeah, no, that's kind of rocking.
Perfect.
That's perfect. I love it so much.
All right.
Thank you.
That's very cute. Oh, people, I'm not a big. I mean, I've already said it during the time period of my birthday, which passed since I've been streaming. I guess I've been streaming for over a year, so it would have had to, but relatively recently passed. And I was like, I'm not a big birthday boy. Hey, I'm not really that into my birthday or holidays in general, honestly. But I'm also not that into. I always tell Paige, I always tell my parents, I'm like, I do not want or need presents just because. Like I don't really fuck with just like getting someone a present just cuz it's their birthday. I'm like, either don't get me anything, or get me something because you like really actually think I'll like it. Otherwise, just don't worry about it. I'm not like I don't need just like more bullshit around my house. And that is the sort of present, like that broom. That is the sort of present that I like to give and that I like to receive. I would rather receive one of those every 5 years than receive 5 mediocre presents. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know. It's a very, very good example of the type of present I like to give and receive. So that's nice. It's nice because it shows, I don't know, it shows a level of thought and effort, and like it is a thing that means something to her. You know, it's not just like another set of dice. It's like, oh, you like dice, here's more dice. It's like, no, it's a thing with like reference and importance. So I like that. It feels like your previous birthday was so recent, but I forgot I binged a year's worth of content. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, but it definitely wasn't recent. Mega hates holidays. He gives off real Festivus fan vibes. I did used to quote unquote celebrate Festivus. I did fuck with a Festivus for the rest of us. Yeah, I'm a bit of a holiday hater. I think it goes back to my core pessimism of like I hate the entire sequence of someone saying, "Oh no, I forgot to get X a present. We're going over to their house for a party. Let's stop by and get a card and put money into it." That makes me actually upset. That makes me like mad. Cause it's just like the personification of like materialistic guilt. It's just somehow holidays, like the aspect of charity and of compassion and of care for other people has been co-opted into giving them a scrap of paper that you didn't even make. If you make your own card, that's awesome. That shows like effort. I think writing letters is super cool. But going and getting a fucking Hallmark card, which by the way, Hallmark headquarters, Kansas City proud. Going and getting a fucking Hallmark card and being like, yup, I put it in. I put in the effort. I like you. I love you even because I got you this scrap of paper. That's just a tax on nice people. That's just using someone's guilt over not caring about others even though they feel like they should, and using it to extract money from them. Pisses me off. I hate it. I hate cards. I really hate cards. I would rather get like a phone call, a letter, a handmade card. Again, handmade. Totally cool because it shows effort. But if you're not going to put in effort, just don't. That's fine. I don't care. I'm not going to be mad that you didn't get me something. I'm going to be mad that you donated $2.50 to Hallmark to assuage your guilt. I hate it. We're learning a lot about me today, huh? I was gotten gift cards from parents since a kid. They didn't bother finding out what I like. Mood. That's what I'm saying. I almost always ask my relatives to just get me money for my birthday and holidays, and they always practically beg me to give them other gift ideas because they want to get me multiple things. That's what I'm saying is like, even I have relatives that will get a card and put money into it. And I'm like, if the point was just to give me money, cool. I like money. Money's awesome. I could do so many things with money. But why did you give another person money to create a vehicle with which to give me money? Just hand it to me. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, dude. I make my own cards? Fuck yeah, Sputnik. That's awesome. Because that shows effort and care. If you make someone a card, that's cool, because that means that you cared enough about them to sit down and do it. That's my big thing, is I don't like this sense of people essentially pretending to care. That pisses me off. Is like, oh, I did the thing. I stopped by the grocery store. And it's like, no, you didn't do the thing. You didn't do the thing. You're pretending to care. It's fine if you don't. I'm totally down if you don't care. That's cool. But don't pretend to. Have you ever thought about not having guilt? That'd be awesome. That'd be sick. I wish that more people just were okay with it. Just said like, yeah, I don't care enough about you to get you a gift. I don't. And that's it. That's cool. I would love that. Literally, do you guys want to know? Okay, this is really telling. This is really telling, that we'll get into the Critical Role episode. Do you want to know what Paige's birthday present was to me this year? I asked her to take, and this is, if you're a relative of mine, I'm sorry. But I hate responding to birthday texts. Hate it. And I said, Paige, for my birthday, will you take my phone all day and reply to all of the people that text me happy birthday that this is the only time all year that they have texted me? It will literally just be like 3 texts from like years past of like birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. And I'm like, I don't care about those. Can you? And it stresses me out to have to do this all day. It actually makes my birthday worse. As a present, will you reply to them? And she did, and it was awesome.
I would like credit that I thought of the present idea.
That's true. That's true. Paige wants credit for thinking of the idea, which she did do. And it was she offered. Which is, yeah, it was awesome. It was the best present I've gotten in a while. It's an amazing gift. Yeah, it was sick. So sorry, relatives, but if my birthday is the only time you text me, don't bother. It's okay. I don't hate you. I don't think any lesser of you. And if that's the only time that you text me, it's probably Paige responding. Paige is the coach. Paige is awesome. See, I would just not respond. I did that for a while, and then I had a whole reputation, and it honestly created more work in the long run. Would they be watching if they only text you once a year? Precise. Honestly. For real. Anyways. How dare you use this sacred time slot? I know. How dare I use it for yapping? That is another thing that I am really excited about with the whole character count and text thing, is that it'll make it easier for me to see when I was going into like different things, and it'll actually, I'm really hoping that I'll be able to time code the streams better so that people can skip the yapping if they want. But anyways, that's it. That's me. That's me. Take it for what it's worth. And that's me.
What?
Hello, everyone. So, from last week's episode, and from there beyond, Vox Machina, our band of adventurers who have found their way into a struggle against a group called the Chroma Conclave, a collection of ancient chromatic dragons that have torn across the landscape of Tal'Dorei and beyond, setting ruin to a number of major cityscapes, and then claiming areas as their own after the fact. In order to combat this, eventually hopefully their leader, Thordak, the Cinder King, a great and powerful red dragon, they've been in search of ways to improve their prowess as heroes, and in search of these artifacts known as the Vestiges of Divergence, lost from wars long past.
Look, I'm just saying, let's do TikTok true crime analysis.
To a number of major cityscapes.
Look at the way he says great. Look at the way he says great here. Seems a little suspicious. No. Like maybe instead of great, he means dead? Or undead?
And then claiming areas as their own after the fact. In order to combat this, eventually hopefully their leader, Thordak, the Cinder King, a great and...
Look at that! Look at that! Look at those micro-facial expressions. He's lying.
powerful red dragon. They've been in search of...
Clearly Thordak is undead. We've got all the confirmation we need right here. Case closed.
ways to improve their prowess as heroes and in search of these artifacts known as the Vestiges of Divergence, lost from wars long past. After finding information about these, it was also discovered that one of their original homesteads, Westerun, the actual place where Pike and Grog, for a large portion of his life, grew up, after being sieged by the dragons, had been then overtaken by the Herd of the Storm, of which Grog previously ran with for most of his life, and was helmed by Kevdak, his uncle, a rather cruel and ruthless leader. After they had absorbed the River Maw years beforehand, it had swollen to a great size, battled the dragon, and amongst their losses came to an accord in which they would leave riches for the dragon, and it would kind of let them be for the time being. Upon making their way into the town, thinning some of the ranks of this ravenous herd, Travis, as Grog, threatened Kevdak to a battle one-on-one for supremacy of the herd, and quickly may have gotten a little in over his head. In the center of the town square, a great battle commenced, where after calling to his side his friends Vox Machina, a bloody fray that nearly felled a few of you. Through some ingenuity, some decent planning, and some trickery of magical item use, you managed to survive and have Grog deal the death blow to Kevdak amongst all of the watching herd. After some...
And by the way, you know, I focused a lot on the map design. It was also a really... I think that there is a takeaway to be had about magic item design, and how very simple magic items can be used in conjunction to create very cool effects, especially if you remove restrictions. So I think that there's a lot that you could learn from that fight. I just chose to really focus in on the map design aspect. But I think there's all sorts of things you could take away from that fight. Oh, did I see the Periscope? Yeah. I haven't watched it yet. I don't know if I'm going to yet. Well, I know. Sorry. I know that I'm going to. It's on my list. What I want to do and I want to test out something with the Periscope is I want to test watching something like the Periscope off stream and then presenting about it on stream. Which, you know, is not really the it's sort of taking away the React format portion of it. It's more, you know, CRDS, Critical Role Demystified-esque. So I want to try that with the Periscope. I just didn't have, fully honestly, I just didn't really have time this weekend. We've got some IRL stuff happening. Both the dog being in heat, so I am sleep deprived, and just some other like stuff that I've had to take care of. So I didn't get to watch the Periscope yet, but I am going to. Potentially tomorrow, and then present about it on Wednesday is kind of my plan. That's a tentative plan, is to watch it either tonight or tomorrow and talk about it on Wednesday. Tentative plan. We'll see. But unless there's something like really wild and crazy that like I shouldn't get too far away, like too far removed from the episode, like if recency really, really matters. But otherwise, I want to try out this kind of new format, experiment type thing.
Just barely scraping by diplomacy, managed to bring it all to a ceasefire at the time being, freed Kevdak's son, your cousin, Zanror, who, from his bindings, seemed to be of a different mentality, emotional mindset than his father was, and is now wishing to, with the two of you, being Vox Machina and the remainder of the herd, bring this fight to the Black Dragon itself, pulling themselves from under the thumb of its rule, thus saving Westruun and your own lives in the process. You all have brought to life one child who was lost in this fray, and are currently escorting this boy northward towards the temple district of Westruun, and that was where we left off last time. So, as you guys recovered somewhat, some of your wounds, taken a breather, begin walking through the now slowly unrolling streets of Westruun. Some folks are coming out, some are still staying in, because there are still various druids, warriors of very aggressive nature wandering the streets, though sparser than before. Seeing you guys walk through, as many people do recognize you through previous exploits, kind of building a little bit of sense of security they have not had for the better part of a week. Making your way northward with this little boy, you eventually find your way into the outskirts of the temple district, to the very familiar half-toppled stone wall.
It's so funny. To hear him say, oh, they're recovering or whatever, this sense of normalcy that they haven't had for the better part of a week. Things have happened so rapidly. So rapidly. And I don't blame Matt for them happening rapidly. I think that there's some degree of, if you made travel time more of a thing, whatever. But that would have only, at most, it maybe doubles it. It maybe doubles it to under 2 weeks. If we're really being like hyper harsh on the travel times. This is kind of just a component of high level D&D where they have so many. Even if Matt cared a lot more about travel and the timings and whatever, the party has so many travel tools that if they can constantly work on a problem, problems get resolved so quickly. Especially because, and this is one of the interesting things about D&D, is because, we talk about it being like a resource management thing. Part of the challenge of D&D is packing a lot of stuff in between long rests. So it's like long rest happens, you pack a lot of things in there, and that's how you develop a challenge. Is you stretch resources, you give them challenges on like how are they going to execute on their resource use, and a lot of times you want that to lead to something interesting. So if you are not running explicit downtime relatively frequently, high-level D&D will turn into a fucking sprint. Like, low-level D&D has some amount of travel time built in, of like, you just have them travel to this place, and that can take days, weeks, months, whatever. And that's a way that you can spread out the thing, and then you just montage the travel, and, that's how you can, like, spread things out temporally within your campaign. But when you get up to high-level D&D, if they can always work on the problem, if there are not, like, built-in buffer zones where they are incapable of working on the problem, they'll just sprint forever. And this isn't even a critique of Matt. This is just like kind of how it is. With like the way that the things that the system implicitly like pushes you to do, Maybe no timer wasn't the problem. Maybe it just feels like they've been dragging their feet for literal months. Well, that's the thing, right? And that's one of the things that I think is kind of a problem, is when the feel of it doesn't.
Warning. Ad incoming. Take cover.
Oh my god, we haven't even started yet. Oh no. If I think that's kind of my thing with the timers is that I like for the in-game, I like for the feel of it to match what's going on in-game. So if in-game it is being interpreted as a sprint, they're doing so many things at such a fast pace, so consistently, I want that to be the out-of-game feel as well. So introducing timers to me is an attempt to like mirror the lack of push that they feel outside. You know what I'm saying? It's to like resolve that. I want to give them a sense of a push out of game that will mirror the intensely fast pace that they're going in game. It's weird though. This is something I don't even like. I can't be too critical on Matt for, because I truly do think that this is kind of just a D&D thing, especially a high-level D&D thing. But we're in an ad. I gotta go. I'll be right back, and then we'll actually watch it, I swear. Hello. Okay. We're actually going to watch it. I swear to God. We're going to do it.
That in a circular way encompasses this portion of northwestern side of Western. What would you like to do?
Well, I would like to make a proposition. If everybody would like to take a rest, I know I'm pretty rough right now, and maybe we could go see if my great-great-grandfather is okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
We were in the process of
Escorting this boy to
the
his
point. It was the three
home.
ladies, right?
But we'll bring him home and then we'll find your grandfather.
Yeah.
Or we can take him home and meet you.
How, where is it? Where?
Little dead boy.
Yes.
The little boy is still kind of like clutching onto Trinket's fur, kind of riding him behind you. He's got a little smile on his face. The dried blood still kind of covering half of his smile.
Does any of this look familiar to you, darling?
Yeah, Mom should be up that way. And he points just further down the thoroughfare.
Close. Yeah. And your grandfather lived in this area as well?
Yes.
Don't see why I can't do both.
Swing by his house, yeah.
Giddy up! And kind of kicks to the side and Trinket like numbers forward.
Trinket's butt. It's okay.
Licks your hand begrudgingly and continues forward, flopping on the cobblestone. For a while, eventually the boy kind of looking around, looking for familiar sights. Some of the buildings have taken some damage in the initial Black Dragon onslaught. He does suddenly point his finger forward and goes, "That's it! That's it!" And you go past a couple of humble buildings, and then you start getting into kind of the slum section of this. I say slum, it's where the poor people in the temple district live when they're not tending to temples or businesses that are surrounded by this district. You can see it. It's a functional. It's a standing hovel, but it's mainly a scrap wood roof with bits of thatch to kind of just help maintain any protection against rainfall. The wood looks old. Some of it may have been rotted but treated since. It's functional. But the boy jumps off Trinket and goes, doesn't even pay attention to you, and just runs up to the door and hits the door, and it's solid, and he goes and kind of pulls on it, and it seems to be closed, and he goes, "Mommy! Mommy!" And he seems genuinely excited, but also trying to get in the front door.
Walk up behind. I kind of whisper to Pike and be like, we didn't think about this potential outcome, did we? No.
Knock him out.
Hello? Is anyone home? It's relatively safe. Than it was.
Can I
Well, time passes. What are you doing?
check the door? It's locked.
The door itself, it doesn't have a knob per se. It just has like a small dark iron handle that's bolted to it. But you pull it, and something is holding it back. Like there's something actually barring it from the other side. A few
Wait,
moments pass. Silence.
Child, how long has it been since you've been away from your home?
They just pulled me out today. Then you hear a voice come from the other side of the wooden door, kind of peeking through the space. Hello?
Knock, knock, we have your son, safe and sound. Delivery. Special delivery for child's mum. Yeah.
Theodore? Boy goes, "Yes, Mom. Please, 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 please. There's nice people out here." And you hear the shifting of wood onto the side. The door opens ever so slightly, and on the inside you can see a pale and scared-looking woman. Clean, simple clothing. Has what looks like some sort of a half-torn apron on that's wrapped around just a simple peasant blouse. She has her hair up in this like small cloth cap, and she kind of pushes through. Theodore opens the door and just picks him up and wraps him in her arms, and kind of holds him for a second, not even paying attention to any of you. And there's this kind of moment where you can see the fear that has been stuck in her mind since he was pulled from the inside of their abode slowly abated with the return. Eventually she stops and her eyes come up over her shoulder at the rest of you. "I'm sorry, pardon my manners. I'm Yulia. Thank you. Thank you."
Of course. Well?
She kind of puts Theodore down. Hold on, let me... And she goes and steps inside of her home. Eventually, a few moments, she comes back and she has a small handful of coins, like coppers and silvers.
Get away.
It's like, it's the least I can...
Was that it?
Yes. Truly. It's not what we did this for.
Good. Good. This is a little it's not that subtle, but it's a I like what Matt's doing of rewarding them for being heroes, for being heroic, saving this kid, whatever. By kind of having this this heartfelt reunion, giving them the feels, displaying it, making it a very making it take a bit of time, like letting them kind of sit in this good thing that they've done. But then sort of reminding them how they normally operate. Matt reminding them a little bit, especially because, like, they all just stood there because they're not used to it. You know, they don't really know what else to do because this is kind of an uncommon occurrence for them. Especially this, like, down at this personal level. Like, they've gotten praise at, like, Whitestone before. Big festival, whatever. I think that they're a little bit more comfortable with that. But this very personal one-on-one is something that they haven't really experienced, at least that we've seen on stream. And I think that they were all role-playing it well of kind of being a little awkward, not really knowing what to do. And I like the small choice of having her go and get a reward. Because it definitely... it calls into question this, like, consistent thing that... oh, small buffer? Oh, no. That's weird. I didn't drop any on mine. What? Okay. Okay. I'll keep monitoring. Let me know if it happens again. But it brings to mind this kind of debate that Vax has been having within himself of, am I a hero? And it's a tiny little thing of giving them this reward, but also, like, kind of tainting the reward almost to allow them to be more heroic and, you know, not accept it, whatever. But sort of put in their heads of, like, oh, is that what we look like? Do we look like a bunch of people that wanted a reward for saving a kid? I think it really hits on the internal struggle that Vax has been having. So yeah, it's just a nice little bit of NPC work from Matt.
It's fine. We're just glad he's home safe.
And not even slightly dead.
Nope, not a scratch.
It's fine, just nothing even happened.
If he has weird
Especially when they literally killed him, and then brought him back from the dead.
dreams, don't worry about it. Just children. You know?
Bride's partially trained on Grog. She kind of, like, now notices you as she steps further out of the house. She's like, is everything okay now?
Oh yeah, he killed the bad guy.
Yeah, we're under new management now. We're gonna be a lot of changes around here for the better.
Okay. Thank you. And she kind of cups the coins back into her hand and reaches down and rubs Theodore's hair. Kind of looks at the blood that's still kind of there and looks a little worried for a second.
That's
Is
somebody
I think it's paint. I think it might be
It was
paint.
messy.
They were painting.
he gonna be all right?
Oh yeah, he's great. Yeah.
We had spaghetti for lunch.
Yeah, quite an adventure.
Thank you.
Give him a little hot cocoa, warm blanket. He'll be fine.
I'm gonna go clean you up. He'll clean you up. He's like, okay, and he runs in behind her. She turns again and kind of takes the door and pauses for a moment looking out at you and says once again, very quietly under her breath, thank you.
Have you? Oh, sorry. Have you seen a small elderly, an older gnome?
No?
Yes. Have you seen him? Is he all right?
Well, we've been staying inside since the incursion came. Did you see him on the other side?
All right.
A few that I have seen. Usually not under good circumstances. But the fact that I haven't seen them might be a good thing.
Yes.
Do you know if they were hiding anywhere? If anyone else went anywhere specifically to hide?
There weren't a lot of places to hide. Only certain areas in the sewers are safe, and our homes are the best places if we knew our way around our own homes. We had a hiding spot, but Theodore got away from us, hearing all the noise, and they managed to take him away.
Where did you hide?
Yeah, Sputnik. I think. Also, what's up, Alice? I think that there is I think that there are advantages to both, to online versus physical. But I very much agree that I find it easier to portray NPCs, to act, to portray villains. I find NPC work much easier in person. So I agree. Why does it say Alice on Truffle video on YouTube? It has to do. Truffle is again another reason that I kind of wanted to get away from Truffle. Is Truffle has this weird thing where it like grabs the first name that it remembers you using and then it keeps that, and I can't clear its memory. I legitimately don't know how you change it, except maybe like inside of Truffle. So I think in order to change it on Truffle, you have to get Truffle, which will then allow you to like edit your own name and change it, change how you appear on the thing. Alice, the D&D character name, yeah. So it's just it's weird. It's weird, man. Yeah. Another reason that I kind of wish I could move away from Truffle, but it looks so good and it is functional most of the time with most things. Thank you for the sub tardigrade. I appreciate it. Or the member. I'm used to watching Twitch streamers. But thank you. I appreciate it. Speaking of, to celebrate multiple things. Celebrate episode 52. Celebrate. Oh wait, can I not do it here? Why can't I do it here? I will not let this stop me. One moment. To celebrate episode 52, some potential improvements. To celebrate episode 52. You can hear myself. I've got memberships to gift. I can gift some memberships, and I haven't done it in a while. Allow gifts. Yes, that's what I want. No. Dang it. Oh, it's being so annoying. There we go. Membership gifting. 5 memberships. Woo! There we go. Welcome. So sus. Look at all these new members. Welcome. Rebecca, Crocheting, Set Theshel, Cabium. Thank you for being here. That'll last for 1 month. I get 10 free ones a month. So I need to remember to use them because sometimes I'm bad about using them. So, welcome. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. Even if it's only for a month or whether you continue. Thank you for being a viewer. I appreciate it. And boop.
Just kind of brings you guys inside, and it's very, very plain in the interior. It's very cold. You can see there is a small, like a fire pit with a cauldron over it that's used for making simple soups, whatever food they prepare in here. There is a portion of the roof that is open to allow any sort of smoke to pass through, but it does have some runoff to exit any sort of waterfall outside of the window. She heads back behind where the cold cauldron is, and where the stones are set up to kind of guard the back from catching to any of the wood behind it. She goes and pulls on one of the pieces of stone, and as she pulls it back, it's a false front of stone that pulls open.
Wow.
So there's a small, like a cabinet there, but you see there used to be what looks to be a religion check for those who are trained in it, or are skilled in it.
Trained in it.
You can try.
Some efficiency in it.
Pretty classic house rule that I like personally. I'm down with it. I don't use it all the time. Depends on the players. Depends on the table. But calling for checks in only those proficient in checks definitely can be good. Can work. Can be cool. I think overall, I prefer just like making it a group check. And just like having everyone roll and then, leaving it up to basically the overall proficiency of the group. But I think that there are positives and negatives towards both of those strategies. I think this is the first time I've ever seen Matt do that, though, of saying, maybe he's done it occasionally, but it's definitely not common from what I remember of him. So yeah.
20.
Oh,
Okay. You see, even just a quick glance, there's a small broken statue that lies to the ground, and you can see the semblance of a destroyed shrine. This back room was a shrine to Melora, and has since been seemingly tossed aside in the hurried state of trying to protect one's family.
Can I reach down and pick up the statue?
It's broken like 3 pieces. As you pick it up, she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." She kind of goes for your hand and goes, I didn't... Hopefully she'll forgive us. I know she will.
Tell me about this deity.
Melora, huh?
Laura.
You've heard Melora. There's a whole section of Vasselheim that is based around her sphere of influence, and she is actually where most of the food in Vasselheim is grown. In such a cold environment, her blessing is what allows the land there to be fertile for crops from many different places. But she tells you, and you can see the symbols too. There's symbols that are carved inside of the stone are these swirls, almost like a slow cascading spiral. She says, Melora's she watches over nature. She watches to make sure we have a good harvest. She makes sure we don't get washed away in the storms. She makes sure that the ships to the far west make their passage across the ocean. She looks out for us, the smaller folk, and brings vengeance upon those who attempt to destroy our life, as she looks kind of distantly out the open door behind you into the city itself. But anyway, I'll repair that.
I might be able to help. Can I attempt, hang on. Can I attempt a mending spell on it?
Yes, you can. You take a moment and close your hands around it, close your eyes, and you can see what little bit of kind of dried grass or moss that is just kind of gathered at edges of the stone all of a sudden spreads and encompasses all the pieces of stone as you're holding it together. She kind of takes a step back, her eyes full of wonder, as the moss then turns dark brown, like a shell of soft vegetation, and then cracks and falls away, leaving behind the stone statue in one piece.
That's sick. I just hand it over, and I tell her, I'm a druid of the Ashari people, and I know several worshippers of Melora, but wasn't necessarily a believer of her powers.
She protects you too.
And you're sure of this?
She looks over to her child, who's now kind of sitting on the side, pulled a couple of these wooden toys out from the side, and is like gathering them in his arms, and is basically grabbing all the things that he kind of missed while he was taken away. And she goes, she brought you to me. She brought you to him.
Why should I believe?
She'll show you. In her own way.
Thank you, my lady.
She takes the statue and, well, if there's anything else I can do for you.
Yes, actually. You should leave. I don't mean that in...
What's going on here? I feel like this is like pre-stream based stuff, because that felt significant, and Marisha doesn't just randomly act. You know what I'm saying? Q started religious tensions with the mother of the kid that is killed and resurrected. I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, it feels sort of out of nowhere. Of like, why should it? But I can only... Keyleth isn't this lol so random XD. Marisha isn't this like lol so random XD. So I can only assume that this is like a pre-stream thing. And that like she has like some like older beef with Melora. It's not out of nowhere, really. Keyleth made some comments about this. It's about the Raven Queen too. Really? Shared doubts about religion in the past. Yeah. Huh. She had beef with Kima too. And maybe that's Hansel Kima beef. And that's maybe the weird thing about this, and this like is a large like basis of interpretation, is the Kima beef felt so reasonable to me without doubting the validity of the gods. Like without running an atheist arc, the Kima distrust felt so reasonable to me that it felt like I felt like Keyleth was the only one being reasonable in that scenario. So I didn't actually that's like again like a difference of interpretation of like my baseline, like that to me that sequence didn't really tell me anything about Keyleth. Like, I don't remember, I don't even remember the Kima beef as, like, characterization of Keyleth. I remember it as characterization of Vox Machina, that they're kind of stupid and trusting. Which is kind of funny, of, like, yeah, that entire sequence, and it does show kind of viewership bias of, again, that characterized Vox Machina sans Keyleth. It didn't really characterize Keyleth for me. So yeah, I don't feel like I learned about Keyleth there, but yeah, I don't know. Her beef isn't with Melora. She's not a fan of the gods, period. Yeah, that's interesting. I vaguely remember stuff about the Raven Queen, but maybe it's just not been so, like, I don't want to say she's being, like, heavy-handed here, but she's being, like, pretty, like, out in the open, like, what's up with this Melora chick? And I feel like I don't remember any comments, at least not pervasive comments, during the Marrowglade lock section. I feel like I sort of remember something in Vasselheim, but it really has not stuck out to me. Like I would assume if she really didn't fuck with the gods, I would assume that her and Pike would have, like, an amount of beef. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's never pressed Pike on Sarenrae. I don't remember her pressing Kashaw on his god beyond, like, oh, she sounds like she sounds shitty, and he's like, yeah, she is shitty. But yeah, I guess to me, I don't remember this being a significant character point. You know? I don't know. I don't know. She has. I just think it hasn't felt this overt. Potentially. Are thou distrusting Kima, Sarah? I think most of us just know this about Keyleth as we have the weight of later C1 stuff. Maybe. I mean, it's possible that we just I know that I interpreted the whole Kima thing very non-standardly, you know? I'm well aware that I interpreted it very non-standardly. So I think that there's a very good argument to be made that I should be going into this point with a little bit more of, like, awareness of this character point of Keyleth. I just haven't. And there's also I don't know. I don't know. I think it's reasonable that other people may not have interpreted it as I have, but yeah, I have not noticed it, really. The Kima being legitimate overall while also being motivated by Keyleth liking the gods is not mutually exclusive. No, absolutely. I don't think it's mutually exclusive at all. It didn't sink into my brain. Like, in my head, I did not read it as telling about Keyleth. I read it as telling about the other members of Vox Machina, but it absolutely can be both. Absolutely could be both of them. And I just missed it. Because if you read the Kima situation differently, then the other comments that she's made since, like the other comments that she's made since have felt very innocuous to me. I can kind of remember them if I really try. It's kind of like the Vax Keyleth romance, where, like, that also kind of came out of nowhere for me, except in retrospect. Where, like, okay, like, thinking back on it, I kind of remember it. I have a similar feeling with this, where I'm kind of like, whoa, Keyleth, like, what are you talking about here? But in retrospect, I can kind of remember her making some comments, and this is just the most forceful one. Yeah. MacLeod did a whole ass video on this last few days. Really interesting. John, I just later see one stuff. I wish people saw using it. I don't think it's a dismissal, but I do think it's I think it's a counter argument. It's a counter argument you can agree with or not agree with. I think there are multiple times within the watch through where I also believe that people's opinions and arguments have been influenced by future stuff. I think Scanlan's a good example. But I think, everyone was very self-aware about that, of like people's future knowledge of Scanlan and how much Scanlan gets better is what influenced their arguments and their viewings of how I was viewing Scanlan. So I don't think it's invalid or a dismissal to say that I think that the future episodes are influencing the opinion. But it also could just be inaccurate. Like, I think it's a valid argument, but it also might just be wrong in certain circumstances. If you think that it has been demonstrated, that's totally fair. Like, I think people can think it hasn't been demonstrated, and people can think it has been. To me, I have not read it as like super demonstrated, but I also understand that I read the Kima situation very differently, which could really hugely affect how demonstrated or not demonstrated it's been. Because interpreting that Kima situation differently, I think really changed my lens on a lot of Keyleth compared to a more general audience. Yeah. Also, the highly religious group member isn't around. Yeah. I said, and I think that this is a little bit dismissive, John. Like I think that both of you have valid arguments, but just, try to interpret each other in as good faith as you can. And understand that, like, sometimes an argument, even if it's valid, might come off as dismissive. Like, dismissive is something that someone else feels, not necessarily something that an argument is. You know what I'm saying? So I think we need to try to see this more compassionately. Yeah, I think it felt the same way. I think I felt the same way this episode. Yeah, I think it really depends on how you interpreted a lot of it coming up to it. I think I've officially made my party's blood run cold, including my DM. Good. Hell yeah, Glitch Revenant. That's cool. Maybe we just agree then that anything I observe about the characters is absolutely tainted by future knowledge, and I don't need to try to join the character analysis. No, I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. I think that it's interesting to find where we disagree. Like, I think it's valid for someone to think that it hasn't been demonstrated so far, but I also think it's valid for you to say I think it has been. I think those are both very valid statements. But yeah, have a good night. Yeah. Anyways.
In the way that it sounded. Sorry, back up. So, come tomorrow, there might be danger in Westruun. You and your kin should go. In fact, anyone that you see, take them with you. There's a little encampment far from here. Not far from here.
There is?
Which direction was, the shanty area of people.
Oh, the refugees.
Yeah.
West.
They were south of here by 4 Mir Base.
Northwest, south.
No, east and
Northwest.
west. It's in this area.
It's over by 4 Mir Basin. Head for that, if you can.
Look for no trees.
No coverage.
Shakes a mental note. No trees. All right. I haven't been that far south. Should we get the others? Should we tell others to come with us?
Please.
If there is danger here, we should...
Yes, it should be.
We're gonna fight here in Westruun. We're gonna do this out of town.
No. There's a fight coming here. We don't want to be here. Don't be too obvious about it, on the sly, if you can. But try and make your way out of here before dawn tomorrow.
Okay, that's probably, you know.
Okay, we will. Theodore?
Glitch Revenant. I totally get the I absolutely get wanting to share stories, especially if, you feel like it had like a cool, fun impact. But maybe a little bit of warning before describing torture. I'm gonna go ahead and delete those messages. Not because I think there's like something super inherently wrong. It's okay. It's it's okay. And maybe if we were like going in with the assumption that we're all sharing stories, that's all good. But yeah, just that's, I can understand that would have an emotional impact on your party. And if they're all cool with it, that's cool. But that's probably something that's not as cool at some tables. All good.
Start gathering your things. We're taking a little trip.
A fun trip.
He goes, a trip? Yay! And starts gathering more of his things. He gets like a pillowcase and starts putting stuff into it. We haven't done a trip. I know. Aww. Thank you.
On second thought, should we ask them to leave on the sly, like through the sewers, just in case?
I wouldn't make a show of it.
So maybe underground if they can.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have it. Are we here? I can't remember.
Yeah.
You're all together.
Okay.
I thought you weren't either. I thought it was just the girls, but then everyone started talking.
Let's stick together. It's
I
just
think Rob was
better
here. Reality is very malleable.
I think we're going to have a larger conversation about where everybody ends up in the very near future. And while 2 people in and out of town is definitely agreeable, I think there's a larger discussion to be had.
I have an odd question for you.
Yes?
Do you know of anyone still in the city who would know their way about the sewers?
I mean, usually the guards would go through and make sure the things that were living down there weren't living anymore, but I don't know anyone in particular that works down there. Sorry.
I know someone. You do? Yeah.
Why don't we let this woman to her the rest of her day?
We have more appointments as well.
Yes.
Much to do today.
This is it, I swear.
Okay.
Are you familiar with anyone in the farming area just outside of town?
I've seen some folks come and go.
We're looking for a woman who was a daughter of one of the gentlemen that worked in the fields, and I'm afraid I have no idea how to go about finding her. Reginald's daughter, yes.
Reginald's daughter. I'll ask.
All right. You know where to find us. We'll be about.
I think I know who to have that discussion with as well. So.
Good day. Oh.
I go over to Theodore, and I don't think I have to bend down.
No. He's like maybe a half an inch shorter than you.
I had a little wooden doll, and so I'm going to pass it to him. I'm going to say, in case we never see you again, you can always think of us when you play with this. That's for you, and you can name him whatever you want.
What's your name?
Pike?
I will name you Pike. Throws it. Starts, thank you. Gives you a quick little kiss in the forehead.
So you adore.
Okay, that was
so much better
that was very
line.
adorable.
I know. I mean, good thing he never does.
Hey, a rare ray of sunshine from the DM today.
Yeah. Such a buddies.
Let's continue on.
Don't poke him.
You guys
Even Portland gets a sunny day.
Lets you go, and she locks the door behind, and you gotta probably making their necessary preparations. Where to next?
Hi.
Okay,
To Wilhan's.
follow me, please.
All right. Not too far away, actually. You come to the Red Brick homestead where Pike, Grog, and Wilhand live. Mostly intact. The second floor, which you guys are definitely familiar with.
I remember this place. Wow.
Part of it has kind of fallen in. It doesn't look like it was been set fire or any like serious damage in that regard. Just some sort of nearby rubble or some sort of impact caused part of the roof to collapse from the outside. You come up to the front door. It's currently locked.
That's a good sign. I think that's a good sign.
You want to knock?
Yeah.
No answer.
You have a secret knock?
Maybe you should say who's knocking, just in case. You do knock so strong.
Dude, Dog So Strong. Also another sad, not necessarily sad thing, but like a tough thing about playing digitally is I think there are less opportunities to bang, 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 you know? It's a little tough. There's so many like small, and this is something I think about digitally as well, not just in the way that you portray an NPC when you're actively talking or when you're actively, emoting as part of a scene, but there are certain like things like you can express like your mood or your general tone or your general stature. Like if Vax wants to act like moody and like wants it to be a thing that people notice, he can literally act moody and like, make it very obvious that it's Vax and everyone can see that and that can be part of the scene. Whereas I think that's much harder to accomplish, that sort of non-verbal communication. Way harder to accomplish online, which kind of sucks. It's why I like having cams on when possible, but like, some people's internet connection can't handle that, so it's just sad. I wish that there was a more, I don't know, visceral way to non-verbally communicate online. But I don't really know that there's like a good solution to it.
Papa Wilhand? It's Pike!
Well, I heard that.
Nothing.
You're nothing.
He might have very soft footfalls.
He might not be home.
Is he old and hard of hearing?
Well, a little.
Okay.
Vax,
Yeah.
I think
would you mind? Maybe you'll get some luck with this door?
Technically, Pike, you do have the keys to the home.
I mean, I can do it if you
hold on.
want to.
I forgot that
no, he
somewhere
needs
in
this.
this
He needs
armor-
this. It's all right. He absolutely needs this.
I'll explode the door.
All that clanking is actually this key moving about my armor. All right.
Unlocks the door.
That key has seen a lot of miles.
Give it a push.
Around the world.
The door hits something.
Doors.
It's like budges maybe a quarter inch.
Okay, that's a really good thing.
I go through the crack. Papa Wilhand! It's Pike!
I go and look through the window. Is there a window?
There is a window.
I have certainly never seen Wilhand or Wilhelm. I am not. I've only heard this character mentioned in reference to Pike, of like, oh, Pike's Grandpa Wilhand.
No, it is currently, there's cloth shuttered around it. You cannot see from the inside.
And the hole in the roof. What's the front? Could I get up it?
Yeah, you can probably get up there. Go make an athletics check.
All right.
Oh, bugger all. I say we give it a shove.
14.
It takes you a few minutes, but you eventually climb your way up, looking down into it. Second floor. It is part of the roof is just fully pushed in. It looks like there's a piece of wayward stone that was ejected from an impact not too far from here, possibly from one of the nearby temples, that ended up slamming through the roof. It's like partially embedded in the ground. The wood's kind of splintered up around it, but it didn't hit the bottom floor. It kind of lodged itself in the floor of the second.
Hear anything? See anything inside?
What'd you see? Oh, well.
I'll help Percy do a big push.
The bottom floor?
Yeah.
Bottom floor, there is some furniture that's kind of busted, but a lot of the furniture's all been pushed right to the front door. There's a giant barricade of mishmash furniture that is jammed impossibly into this front area.
He's very strong.
We're going to give a push to the front
Percy
door.
and
More
I.
amusing when you consider that there's a glass window right next to it that is not blocked at all, just shuttered so carefully.
There's a window. There's nothing in front of it. You want to come in the window?
Percy and I give a, we give a shove.
open
to
it.
the
We
door.
give a big shove.
Or
A
give
big shoulder shove.
Shoulder shove.
Make a strength check with advantage, let's say, as you, him having an advantage, you're helping.
Oh, him having advantage because I'm helping.
18 is
18.
my strength.
And I.
You guys slam it a few times, and the impacts kind of lodge a few things loose, cascading down, causing a bit of a racket, but eventually you managed to get it pushed open enough you guys could squeeze through.
I think you just broke a chaise lounge, but come in.
Pike, after you.
Okay. All right, I step in and
All right.
start looking around.
Looking across the way, you see the fireplace mantle has been ruined where the original small shrine to Sarenrae used to be. It looks like it's been knocked over and then put back together on top haphazardly. Like it was shattered and then was kind of just put up there and is delicately keeping its form by how it was laid. The rest of the room is cold. It's quiet other than your footfalls.
Can I check the bedroom?
Okay, you go up to the bedroom area. As you go up the stairs, you can see the giant piece of stone that is smashed in there, where the bed would be, and part of the bedroom area.
Pike, did he have any hiding places like that other house?
I'll go with her.
I'm gonna look around for
Search
personal
around for
effects,
a hiding,
papers.
any kind
Investigation check, both of you guys.
Is there a basement here, Pike?
There,
of... 18?
15.
What do you say?
there are hiding places.
I start.
You guys go through the kitchen area, and you guys are kind of looking about moving stuff. In the pantry area, there is a small wooden slat that is partially moved across that leaves a small opening in the floorboards.
Wilhand?
Hello?
Shh! I'm not here.
Pike, I've got good news. He says he's not here.
Okay, I go running down.
Okay, you run and you kind of push stuff out of the way, and there's the one board that's kind of slit open. All the rest of the boards are still kind of loose and placed over it. You just take the boards and
pull
toss
it
them
off.
up. As you pull the boards off, a little bit of light has made its way from the window in the.
There's something that Matt mentioned earlier that when it comes to sensory stuff, I think I'm a little bit lacking in sometimes, which is he talked about how the room was cold. And that is something that I don't do very often, is describe the temperature of an area. But it is very interesting, unless it's like a pretty specific area. Like sometimes I'll talk about how some things, maybe like hot and muggy, if they're in like, I don't know, like a rainforest. But it's normally pretty obvious times where like temperature would be a significant factor. But I think that was nice there of describing the room as cold. There's an implication about the nature of the room, that it's unlived in, that it is not being used, that, because if it was being used, there'd be body heat, there would be fire in the hearth, like there would be warmth. I think there's some poetic angle to it as well. But in a more literal sense, I think that it does give some interesting information about the room that would be much harder to convey otherwise. Because, I think the more traditional way to be like, a room is unused is like, there are cobwebs in the corner, or there's a bunch of dust on the floor. But there wouldn't be cobwebs and dust after a week. Like, that's that's totally unreasonable. So how do you indicate disuse without indicating too much disuse? And I think that Matt super found it, just describing it as cold. I don't know. I know that I'm going on about this one little thing, but it really does stand out to me as a very uniquely opportune time to use that. When I'm describing air, I quickly go through all the senses in my mind. If you can do that quickly and not delay description, I think it's a solid way to go. I think it's a really, really solid way to go. Yeah, there's dust on the floor. What's the dust? What's dust in quotes? Like wood splinters? What are we talking about?
The far end of the kitchen, you can see just a bit of glimmer off, looks like a set of glasses that immediately recoil in the shadow and go,
Papa Wilhand!
Pike? Oh my goodness. And his hand reaches out and grabs yours, and you pull him up, and he's just covered in dust and dirt, and just, he's probably been down there. The smell, he's probably been down there for a few days.
I give him a big rag.
Give him a big hug. He has kind of long, ratty, silver hair that's bald on the top, kind of bald on the sides. It's kind of curled up and matted on the edges of his shoulders. His normally, nice, kind of light blue, kind of sky blue shirt is just kind of torn in places and covered in dirt. He's been living under the house for quite a while. He's got a little bit of dried food crusted on the side of his chin, but he's just there with a big old hug. Pike, I missed you so much.
I missed you so much. I'm so glad you're okay.
You too. Look at you. Where'd you get the scar? Oh.
It's a long story. We'll get there.
I want to hear the story. And it's gone!
Runs up and goes to give you a hug, and he's like, oh,
look.
Come down.
Yes. Take it easy.
Big guy.
And his eyes go from really warm to suddenly very, very cold, and he goes, they came back for me. They came back for me.
I know.
I saw him in the streets.
I know, it's all right.
Come in.
It's all right with it. It's all been taken.
They didn't find me.
You hid.
They didn't find me at all. There was no way they could find me. I know where the secret places are.
I see where Pike gets her smuts from.
Yeah.
So, it's been a while. All of you.
and he starts going around and kind of giving each of you, like, you guys got the hugs, he's giving you the formal, like, oh, yes.
Good to see you.
This is Vex.
You.
This is Max.
He shows us.
Folks, yes, I remember.
Yes, hello.
Been a while.
I don't actually think we've met before.
No, you're unfamiliar to me.
nice.
Good to see you again.
Scanlan.
I always nice to see a fellow gnome in these parts.
You are?
I'm Percival Frederick Stein von Musel-Kurowski, the Roller the Third. It's a pleasure to meet you. Hello.
You can go.
You can
Hi.
go
Right.
first.
And he kind of pats your shoulder.
That took some doing. Well done. I'll kneel down for that. Yeah.
So.
There was a very big
too?
battle. And Grog beat Kevdak.
Yeah.
Chopped him in half.
Right
Straight down the
into-
middle.
Flayed him.
I knew you would.
Yeah.
You've always been the strong one.
So everything's a little bit more under control, hopefully.
Oh, I
A
hope
little.
so.
No, Travis did. He did. It just wasn't in the captions because people were talking over him. But Travis absolutely said, "Just call him Percy." It's still there. They still got it. This is definitely pre-stream stuff, which is it is always what would you say? Not disconcerting, but it's always weird to remember that that Percy is not an OG, you know? He's not like a strictly original member. They like picked him up later after the D&D transition. Wasn't it that they were in D&D, they transferred to Pathfinder, and Taliesin was originally playing like a Dragonborn paladin? Stretching my pre-stream knowledge, doesn't matter. But yeah, weird to remember that they like picked him up later as a character. Yeah.
Ish.
Wilhelm,
Yes?
did they want something in particular with you? Why did they want you?
Well, they went after me years ago. They nearly had me.
I've heard the story. Yes.
I escaped.
I've
I managed to
heard.
flee and took one of their own with me.
I know.
Nursed this one back to health, we did.
Thank goodness.
And I think I made them angry. So they came to Westruun, trying to get revenge on old Wilhand, but no. Too keen for that. These eyes have seen the world.
You think that Goliaths...
Well, of course they did.
Of course they
Yep,
did.
that's the only reason
Yes,
they came
no,
here.
that's...
Who hasn't heard the legend of Willa?
Yes.
Oh, not many.
You're a very
They don't
important
get out very
figure.
often.
They cry your
You're
name
welcome.
across the
The seven
No, no, no,
seas.
no. Don't give me a big head about it.
I've written many a song about you, it's true.
Well, if they're all dead, let's have a meal.
Well, no, little misunderstanding. They're not all dead.
Oh.
We unseated Kevdak.
Okay.
He's dead. And so were the horrible bastard who was pouring poison in his ear. But listen, I gave power up to the herd to Zanror, his son.
Okay.
So it's in slightly better hands. Little problem.
Right.
They want to stay and fight the dragon that's
Okay.
going to come back. So we need everyone in here to leave.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. In what way? Leaving or fighting the dragon?
Dragon? What?
Sorry. Yes.
Did you know about the...
You were aware, right?
Yes!
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, that one.
He's just walking back towards the hole.
No.
I grab the back of his britches and I pull it back. No,
Hey, guess what though? We fought many dragons already.
She killed one.
And guess what? I killed one.
Two, three.
Two or three.
That's my pike. Then this is nothing. The Dragon Slayer. Pike Trickfoot. Come again to kill another.
That's how she's known.
Great. Wondrous.
Ruthless.
Huh. Let me know when it's dead.
No, I grab the back of his britches, pull it back out.
It's okay right now.
We're glad you're safe. But we want to make sure you're out of here before any real damage comes to town.
We're also going to need any and all recruits that you may know of, or any favors that you can call in. If we are in fact going to fight this dragon,
We
are we
haven't-
going to fight this
we haven't
dragon?
quite
We really should have a
talked about
conversation about that.
But what is known is that there's going to be a fight tomorrow.
There's probably going to be a fight.
And unless you want to throw down, and I know you're a mighty warrior, not saying you shouldn't, but if you don't want to, now might be the time to skip out of here.
There's no shame in prudence.
No.
Lets your hand away and goes, goes back down into the hole. You hear him rummaging a little bit. Something falls and shatters. Ah, Cheeman, bring it! Eventually he comes back out, clutching a dark brown glass bottle with a cork in it and goes,
I'm gonna need some of this.
Is it bourbon? What?
Oh,
Well, don't be stingy.
well, this is the Trickfoot special. I've been distilling while you're away.
Ooh.
How much you got of that, old man?
2 casks.
All right. I drink the whole rest of
It
the
is
bottle.
awful. It is like potato moonshine in its most
Moonshine?
basic form. It is.
Mike's gonna be so
Grain
fucked up.
alcohol.
Oh, no.
Like yeah, this. You probably singed your eyebrows just put the bottle near your face, but you don't realize halfway through the bottle as you drink it, you pick off. Oh, it burns.
Welcome
This
to
burns.
Original recipe index, my favorite.
That's a little stronger than I remember it.
Hey, Pike's at disadvantage for the rest of the day.
I'm
Oh,
vomiting
no.
off and on for the rest of the day.
Hello. Would you all? There's plenty more. Would you all like to join and have a sip?
Maybe a little.
Okay, I'm okay for now.
Hook that, hook it up, homie.
It's been a day. I will.
I'll
Get the
have
cups.
one.
Yes, the cup.
And he goes and opens a cabinet. There's just shattered glass. Okay, no cups.
It's fine.
Bottle, it is.
Pass the bottle.
Pass the bottle.
You guys pass the bottle around for a bit.
What's the guy from Vasselheim? I can only think of Simon, but I know it's not Simon. It is someone else. But Wilhand gives big Victor. Wilhand gives me Victor energy. And I think that the party just loves old like prepper style crackpots. I think that he sounds like a less crazy Victor. Yeah, just a bit. He sounds like a Victor that hasn't probably been inhaling gun smoke. Or not gun smoke, but gunpowder for days. Which is pretty good. Also, we are getting ready where it's close to ad time, and we are going to see how it goes. But I am feeling incredibly nauseous. I've been nauseous the whole stream, and sometimes that just happens. Sometimes I can push through it. But I got pretty terrible sleep last night, and sometimes that just results in this. And I can talk, but focusing and retaining is harder. So yeah, that's the big problem, is that I could probably watch this, but I may not remember it, which will be bad, and we don't want. So I'm gonna start the break a little bit early. It's supposed to go off in 3 minutes. I'm gonna start the break a little bit early. I'll come back and we'll see how we feel. I honestly, I was thinking about calling stream last night, because I could tell that it was going to be a low sleep night, and it wound up being an even lower sleep night than I thought. But yeah, take some Pepto. My physiology is fun. But yeah, so I thought sometimes this just happens. Sometimes I go into stream and like I have nausea meds, because nausea is one of the main symptoms of my ADHD medication. But sometimes the nausea meds just don't work. Sometimes if I get like really terrible sleep, which I got like 1 or 2 hours last night. So sometimes in that sort of situation, the nausea overpowers the meds. So yeah, like I said, sometimes I can get there. And that's what I thought today was going to be. I thought it was going to go down, not up. But I misread the symptoms. So we'll start the break now. Ads will go off some point during the middle of the break. And then I'll come back, see how it's going. I might go, I don't know. I don't know what I will go and do. We will see once I get there.
Warning, ad incoming,
but
take cover.
I will be right back. And hopefully we can keep going. I'm getting more pessimistic as the seconds go on. So I'll be right back. Okay. What's up? Ad has 10 seconds left. Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed me, like, first putting my hair back, then switching out the headphones for the earbuds. Because my body is feeling progressively worse. And getting up made it feel even worse. So, I am unfortunately going to have to medically DQ myself. It sucks. To a degree, I miss having a job where I could just come in and put in a mediocre day, Because I could sit in this chair and I could watch Critical Role and I could probably make something mediocre. But that feels disrespectful to Critical Role, to you guys. I'm asking you guys to spend your time here. And it will also be better for me if I just get off. Now I get to go watch the Periscope. True. But yeah. Thank you guys. Hopefully this pattern does not continue. Yeah. I know what the source of it was, at the very least. So hopefully I can remedy it. Yeah, and sorry if I was a little bit spacey today, or not quite as keyed in. I definitely, over the course of the episode, I was feeling not as able to like engage with things. Like the episode, you guys, I was just like not really all the way there. So I want to be there especially when we're doing Critical Role. So cool. You know what? I'll end out stream by giving the quick advice for chat. Noir, talk less than you think you should. That was what I had to do when I started playing. I'm still bad at it. I talk too much. Your instinct will be to talk whenever there is silence. At least mine is. And so that is the thing that I had to really get over. But I'll see you guys later. I'll see you at the very least tomorrow for a little bit. And then Wednesday, hopefully this will not be an issue. And I will be able to finish out this episode. It's a cool episode too. I wanna engage with Will Hand. And I can't. So thanks for joining. I'll see you later. Bye.